Israel bombed the bunker beneath the residence of the Supreme Leader Khamenei. 50 fighter jets dropped more than 100 bombs. The compound above it, the residence and offices of the Supreme Leader Khamenei, was one of the three main targets of the initial strike a week ago on Saturday. The strike on Saturday was not targeted at the bunker, and therefore bunker buster bombs were not used. There was no need, and the bunker was not damaged. We were blowing up the Iranian leadership meeting in an office space. Today's operation was carried out following intelligence received by Israel indicating that at least one very senior official in the Iranian regime was inside. The IDF, Israeli Defense Forces, believes that the bunker stretched across long streets beneath the civilian population and had multiple entrances. It was perceived by the Iranian regime as impenetrable. Not so much. This is the kind of thing the Iranian leadership is now having to resort to. Because apparently, reports are that Israel has hacked every surveillance camera that the Iranian theocracy installed all over Tehran in the country. And they installed millions of them to spy on their own citizens. Now the Israelis have hacked those cameras. They spent years observing through those cameras. They know what all these leadership guys look like. They know where they live, where they work. They know what their bodyguards look like, what cars they drive, where they tend to park when they go to different locations. And the result is here's an Iranian regime official having to disguise himself in women's clothing to avoid detection. Because once the Israelis see this guy on a camera, they know exactly what square meter of that street is. And they just drop a drone on him or drop a missile on him. This person dressed like a woman on the left is Yasser Lofuti, a senior commander of Tehran. More ships getting blown up, more Iranian ships. U.S. Central Command releases footage of U.S. forces taking out an Iranian drone carrier the size of a World War II aircraft carrier. Just 1 year ago, Iranian leadership bragged about their transformation of a commercial ship into a mobile naval platform so they can launch drones from the ship. They said at the time, the addition of the ship to our fleet is an important step in increasing the defense and deterrence capability of Iran in distant waters and in maintaining our national security interest. Well, I wonder what effect the removal of that ship from the board has. More than 30 Iranian ships have now been destroyed, according to Admiral Brad Cooper of the United States. This is another ship that was just destroyed. The U.S. has taken out the Iranian naval ship Iris Makran. Just last month, the naval vessel held a Death to America march. Well, death to somebody. And this is what they could have done. Any of those ships could have done this. This is an Iranian naval vessel. Bushehr interned itself at a neutral port, will remain docked at Sri Lanka's Trincomalee Harbor until the end of the war. And as this account notes, this is how you don't get sunk by the U.S. Navy. You intern yourself at a neutral port. Now, I do want to mention one point of caution because I'm always honest with you guys. So it's I don't just cheerlead MAGA. I mean, when they're doing the right thing and we're winning, I'll cheerlead, of course. But where there are vulnerabilities, I feel obliged to point them out. And I see posts like this. It's now day 8 of this combat. Iran missile launches during the first 8 days and drone swarms. So from day 1 to day 8, the number of launches for ballistic missiles, 350, down to 175, down to 120, down to 50, down to 40, down to 32, down to 28, down to 15. That's pretty good. Drone swarms, day 1, 294. Day 2, it went up to 541. These are swarms, not individual drones. Day 3 collapses to 200. Day 4, 85. Day 5, 45. Day 6, 38. Day 7, 30. Day 8, 12. Looks pretty good, right? But there's a problem with this math, and that is Iran doesn't need to destroy all the things. Iran just needs to be able to show that occasionally, from time to time, some individual drone will get through to something important and cause damage. And what that tells the world, and what that tells all the insurers that insure these facilities like oil containment and distilleries and bases and cities and all that, a ship in the Strait of Hormuz, is that Iran may have a 1 in 100, a 1 in 1,000 chance of actually hitting what they're aiming at, but if the chance is more than zero, you have to assume that that facility is vulnerable. And again, I've been quoting or referencing this guy's content quite a lot, but it's really very good and insightful. Shanaka Anslam Pereira, Bahrain just got hit. Not a base, not a military installation, but the refinery, the Bahrain Petroleum Company, is burning. Iranian missiles and drones reached the facility on March 5th, despite air defenses intercepting 75 missiles and 23 drones in the same wave. The intercept count is the highest single-day figure for any Gulf state in this war. The fires are confirmed by video. Understand, he writes, what BAPCO is. It's not an abstraction. It's the refinery that processes virtually all of Bahrain's domestic petroleum output, sitting on an island, 800 square kilometers, also hosts the Naval Support Activity Bahrain, the headquarters of the United States Fifth Fleet that commands all U.S. naval operations across the Persian Gulf, the Red Sea, the Arabian Sea, the Indian Ocean. The commanding officer of the Fifth Fleet wakes up every morning approximately 12 kilometers from the refinery that Iran just struck. If you wanted to design a single target that communicates simultaneously to the global energy market, the U.S. Navy, and every Gulf monarchy watching this war, you would design BAPCO as the target for Iran. And here's the important thing. Iran did not need to destroy the facility to win the targeting decision. The mechanism of the strike is verification cost inversion applied to oil infrastructure. An oil refinery that's been struck once by Iranian missiles in an act of war is a refinery that no insurance underwriter, no shipping counterparty, no downstream buyer can treat as a reliable facility without repricing every contract that touches it. The fires that Al Jazeera is broadcasting tonight are doing more work to drive up the price of oil than they did to the actual refinery. The facility will be repaired, but the vulnerability of the facility, the now known vulnerability, cannot be repaired. Iran could throw another 1,000 drones in it, hit it 5-10 times. It may as well not exist. You have to change the people. You have to remove the people who have the will and desire to fire these missiles and fire these drones at this infrastructure. And it's not just this particular facility. There's, for example, the Arab states have built pipelines to go around the Strait of Hormuz, to go around the blockade of Iran. They spent decades building these pipelines and pumping stations, but really everything's above ground. And the important parts have to be above ground. You could, in theory, bury the pipeline at tremendous cost, but you can't bury the pumping stations and much of the other infrastructure. So it's all vulnerable to attack. And if it's vulnerable to attack, it may as well not exist. It's not useful. It's not practicable as a way to get around the Strait of Hormuz, the way to get around Iran's obstruction. So if you can't prevent evil actors in Iran from using their missiles and drones to do this, and of course, this is their answer. This is Iran's answer. We will F you up. We will F up the global petroleum market. We will drive up all your costs. We maybe will destroy the world economy. If you can't prevent bad actors in Iran from doing that with the equipment, the missiles, and the drones they have, the only solution is to change, remove off the board the bad actors entirely. And this is what Trump's really talking about here. There will be no deal with Iran except unconditional surrender. We're not going to live. The world is not going to live with bad actors in Iran anymore. It's too strategic a position for us to allow people to rule it when bad actors can do this to the world economy at their whim. At their whim. We're going to change out the people.